As a Christian, I believe the architecture of the world lies at the feet of God, the architect. He created many things. Psalm 94, 4-5 says, "In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land." But not only did God create the earth, he created man too, and he left man to discover his many wonders. Around 500 BC, the Greeks studied a formula that led to a ratio. First off, this ratio is simply a proportion of one segment to another. The ratio is, in short, 1.618. That means that if one segment has the length of 1 unit, its partnered segment would have the length of 1.618. This ratio of 1 to 1.618 created a rectangle with proportions that were simply aesthetically pleasing. Thus, the golden section was used in architecture from then on. Look at those two sections. Don't they look like they complement each other? I think so, and so did a bunch of old Greeks. 1700 years later, approximately in 1200 AD, Leonardo Fibonacci discovered a sequence of numbers dubbed the Fibonacci Sequence. It goes as follows: 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, and so on. The next number is determined by adding the two former numbers together. For instance, 1 and 1 make 2, 2 and 1 make 3, 3 and 2 make 5, etc. It can be difficult to see the relevance of such a sequence of numbers until a discovery was made. When dividing a number in the sequence by its previous Fibonacci number, you end up with a number very close to the golden ratio. That number gets closer and closer as you continue down the line of the Fibonacci numbers. This is amazing considering these two mathematical studies occurred more than 1,000 years apart and had nothing to do with each other. What is the significance of this stuff anyway? Well, following the revelation of these two seemingly separate mathematical studies, it was then discovered that all these elements are found all throughout nature. Take, for instance, this pine cone. Firstly, the general dimension can be approximated to the golden section. Secondly, let's take a look at the numbers of spirals. These spirals go in both directions, so let's look at them this way first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, let's look at them in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Looking at the sequence again, we remember that 8 and 13 are both consecutive Fibonacci numbers. Here are some more examples of Fibonacci numbers in nature. There are other examples of the Fibonacci sequence and golden section in nature. For instance, if you put the Fibonacci sequence along to shapes, as you can see in the photo shown, and you add a spiral to where they exist, then it creates what is known as the golden spiral. Examples can also be found in hurricanes, nautilus shells, and chicken eggs. And don't forget, it was God who created the earth and these wonders. But why would he do this? Aren't these just simple numbers? I don't believe so. Such distant mathematical studies coinciding with nature seems to be more than a coincidence. Everything God created is beautiful and perfect. God created nature himself, and he left his creation of mankind to discover mathematics. God's creation is so perfect that not only did he create what we could see and discuss, but he also created it in such a way that could be described by numbers, formulas, and ratios. Some may doubt this math's relation to God and simply chalk it up to coincidence. As a believer, I'm inclined to believe every good thing comes from God. When such hard evidence is found in nature relating to these numbers and ratios, I assert that it is more difficult to believe it occurred by chance. These ratios and measurements define what is aesthetically beautiful in nature. That's a wonder in itself. One could say, well, there's a bunch of stuff in nature that doesn't conform to these mathematics. However, not only is it found in nature, the Fibonacci sequence and golden ratio are also found in the human body. Take a look at the human face. Here alone, we have multiple dimensions of the golden section. How about from the tip of your nose to the top of your forehead? Or from your chin to the bridge of your nose? Even closer is the bottom of your smile to the tip of your nose. And after that, from your chin to the base of your nose. Even on your torso, you have from your waist to the top of your neck, or the base of your skull. Or on your hand, from your wrist to the tip of your finger, or from the tip of your finger to your knuckle. The human body is a collection of mathematical definitions. 2 hands, both with 5 fingers, 2 feet, both with 5 toes, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 mouth. Humans, as God's prized creation, were made according to his beauty and aesthetic, as was nature. Not only should one know that these things were not man-made, but that God made us and everything else to be beautiful.